Watch where you're going. All right, welcome back to another School Principal Reacts. We are picking up where we left off last time with Max Keeble's big move here and my reaction to it. And I've enjoyed the movie so far. Some really horrendous bullying. The bully in this case would have been put out of school and possibly even charged. But even worse than the bullying is the school. They just let it happen, and then he came into an assembly and the principal didn't do anything about it, and in fact blamed Max. Didn't clean him up, didn't do anything. It's just the worst. But I can't wait to pick up right where we left off here with this investor guy I remember that came in, and then we had to take a little bit of a break, but we're ready to get going here. Just a reminder, if you're not subscribed to the channel, take a second here before we begin and click the button below to subscribe. Let's get into the movie.
Looks like you can use some help with managing your portfolio.
Portfolio?
And you have it all in cash. Kid, let me hold this for a while and I'll set you up with a nice mutual fund.
What's going on here?
Oh, okay. Finally.
Lunch money.
Is this true, Mr. Dobbs?
No, I'm just spreading some investment wisdom. Speaking of which, how did biomorph systems work out for you?
All right, so I'm like, finally, a staff member is stepping in. Now, granted, someone should have stepped in when he walked in all messed up from that bullying, but this guy is taking his money, and Max didn't agree to that. So he is taking his lunch money is what he's doing, but he's talking to her now. I'm wondering, is she going to stop him? That kind of remains to be seen here. Let's see.
Best money I ever spent.
Oh, no.
By the way, what do you think of Handspring?
It's moving today. I'd say bye.
Thanks.
Right.
Yeah, that's my reaction too. Like, what? Like, aren't you going to stop him? And if it becomes known that this staff member is aware of this and failed to stop it and allowed him to do this, that is a huge problem. That's a potential firing for this teacher. And I almost forgot about the potential firings counter from the last video. A lot of you were probably thinking, well, he should have been fired for some of that stuff. A lot of the things that the principal did were sort of bad practice, but not necessarily a firing. Up until when that bullying happened, he can absolutely be fired for that. That whole episode in the school auditorium where he calls him out, fails to do anything about the bullying, fails to have him cleaned up. We're just going to wrap all that up into one potential firing for that principal, and then of course one for this teacher as well. If she stands here and watches this happen, especially if she's getting some sort of benefit from this supposed stock trader here that is giving her advice, that is really bad, and she would absolutely be fired for that if it came out that she's benefiting from this information and then not stopping him from basically stealing. That would be a firing. Let's keep going.
Keeble! You may be under the impression that I encourage horseplay and malarkey. I don't encourage it. I excourage it.
What does that mean?
X-Courage?
It means the opposite of encourage. Look it up.
What?
And so, young man, remember, study rhymes with buddy. Scram.
Yeah, he needs to apologize to Max and hope that his parents don't sue the school district for something like that. But now he's in band class, which they call it band, but I see some stringed instruments here. I mentioned this on an episode of Ned's Declassified, the music class episode. You don't typically have those mixed together unless this is like an orchestra, in which case it would be mostly strings. But let's see what we've got here. I see a flute, a couple of violins, saxophone, clarinet.
Hey, what are you doing here? I thought you said band wasn't cool enough for you.
He did say that.
Yeah, but I thought it over and I've decided that band is pretty,
No. No.
Excuse me.
What?
What are you doing sitting in my seat?
Oh,
Does it say your name on it or something?
Yes.
well, okay, wow.
If you don't mind?
And by the way, she said she was first chair, so if that's true, she would have an assigned seat that this girl may be sitting in. Now, the notion that her name would be on the chair, I've never seen that ever. The only situation I've seen that in is maybe a music class for really young kids, and they would have maybe some masking tape or something with the kid's name on it, but that's really just about keeping them nice and organized so they don't run all over the place. In a situation like this, you wouldn't have someone's name on the chair like that. It would just be understood, hey, this person's first chair, second chair. You might even post that like on a bulletin board or something to keep track if it's a larger group. And I kept laughing because of the music that kept playing when this girl walks in. I forgot this was made in 2001 after all. That's pretty funny.
Can you believe her?
Oh, he's happy with it. What?
Hi, Jenna. Hey.
What?
Welcome, everyone.
Okay.
Please.
That's great. I did not expect that. So I know this guy. I think this is the actor that played Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell, if I'm correct. The original Saved by the Bell, that is. And by the way, a number of you have told me I should take a look at it. I do plan to someday. If there's a specific episode you'd like me to start with, let me know. But such a great series, and that is where I remember this guy, who apparently is the band director in Max Keeble's Big Move.
I should tell you right away, you'll notice that we are a bit cramped in here, thanks to some temporary storage forced on us by someone who has absolutely no appreciation of what we do in here.
And by the way, I have seen that happen before where stuff gets thrown in various places, temporary or not. It isn't a great vibe, and teachers do typically get upset by that, which, you know, you are kind of using part of their space. I do understand that.
Can I help you football guys?
Yes, please.
What?
Careful.
What is that? No.
Jendrake, I'd like to...
No. And those kids could get in some trouble for doing that for sure, but honestly, I'm impressed. I'm impressed that these guys who've never played before can even do what they did. If I were him, I'd be like, hey, would you guys like to learn to play for real instead of just playing around? But they shouldn't be just picking those things up. Those tubas and sousaphones cost thousands of dollars, and if they drop them or something, that could be really serious. But I'm guessing Mr. Jendrake did this. There's no reason for them to really store all this stuff in there. Typically, athletic gyms are going to have places for that, or a field house, which is basically just a building dedicated to storing football equipment and other athletic items. Where's he going now? Adopt a friend? Oh, an animal shelter. Watch where you're going. All right, so I skipped a little bit. I'm going to try and stick mostly to the school scenes.
Hey, Max, check it out. I made up some flyers to help save the animal shelter. I thought maybe you and I could put them up around the school.
Why bother? Flyers not gonna make any difference.
Which, by the way, you'd need permission. Most schools have different policies on what you can put up in the hall as far as what to advertise. You do sort of have to be careful about that. A lot of places might allow you to do that in a certain spot, like a little community board or something maybe in the front office, or not at all, just depending on the school's local policy about advertising stuff like that that's not directly supported by the school.
Cover me. I'm going in.
What? What is that?
He moves, he fakes. Rangoon, think fast.
So bad.
Nice hands. Now pick up the ball and put it in the case. It's from Nebworth's City Championship game. I'm going on my walkabout.
Okay, breaking that and throwing it at her and then asking her to pick it up, that is a potential firing, I'm going to say. You can't do people like that. You just can't. And if she was upset by this, she could go to the school district about something like this.
Mrs. Rangoon, what's this?
Some of the kids are trying to save the animal shelter down the street.
Kids? What kids?
You know, the ones with a sense of caring and civic duty.
What's he gonna do?
You there. Cease!
He needs to stop that.
What is the meaning of this?
I didn't do that.
So you want to save the filthy little beasts, eh? Perhaps you want me to give the animals my car. Do you want me to give my car to the smelly goat?
All right, so he saw him going into the animal shelter, and he crashed his car because he was looking at that and not at the road. That's his fault. And I guess he assumed that Max did this because he saw him at the animal shelter, which, you know, I guess that's a fair assumption, but he tells him it wasn't him. And it is true that they would need the school's permission to put these up. Now, even if they're not allowed to just put them on random spots in the hallway, there's going to be some way that they can advertise this depending on what the school policy is. But he's being a little harsh here. And he needs to stop that whole cease, just saying cease.
Cease!
He needs to stop that whole business.
The animals have nowhere to go. Some creep's closing down the shelter.
I'm closing down the shelter, silly. Boy.
And if that's true, that creates a definite conflict of interest. If he really is doing that, he needs to make sure that he's not giving the appearance of stopping them from advertising that so that he can benefit from it. That is definitely an ethical violation, and depending on what he does here, may be a potential firing. Now, does he have control over these sorts of advertisements? Yes. But if I were him, I would make sure that I help them advertise it in some way, whether the animal shelter is saved or not. He can't say that he used his influence as principal here to make sure that it was shut down.
Where did you think I was going to build Nebworth Stadium? In your house?
Oh, the stadium.
Your house. That's rich. There wouldn't be room.
This guy. Oh no. It's the, I don't even know what to call him. I just keep thinking of him as Josh because of Drake and Josh. But if all these kids know about this, then the staff knows. And the fact that they're not doing anything about it is horrible. It's really a failure of this school. And this school has just about the worst bullying I've ever seen. And they're not doing a thing about it.
Hello, freak.
What is this?
What's going on?
McKinley's latest victim. You gotta check this out.
All right, okay. It's okay.
So this is so unrealistic and awful at the same time. The notion that he would be allowed to do this without anyone stopping him is absolutely awful. This appears to be like right in the middle of the school lobby. Like, did no one see this, and did no one let him out after he started knocking and stuff? And yeah, you do have kids, unfortunately, that don't do anything about bullying and point and laugh. I mean, I have seen that before, but not 100% of students. You're going to have people that will go to the school and say, hey, this is awful. Please do something about this, or immediately let him out. It's not going to be all the students. So bad.
Let me check the latest rates. That's
Bathroom
$3 for
rates?
number 1 and $5 for number 2. Keeble,
Get off me!
I worked really hard on that display. Excuse me.
So he's charging people to use the school restroom, and somehow the school doesn't know about that or isn't doing anything about that. That is awful. And by the way, this kid should have been suspended for taking Max's lunch money from the first part of my reaction here, and he could definitely be suspended for this. And the bully, I don't even know where to begin with him. He would have been put out of school for that first little issue, and this one would have been a definite suspension with putting, I keep wanting to call him Josh, in that little cage there.
How much for a swirly? Take stall number 4.
Troy.
No charge. Thanks, man.
No charge.
Can we talk about this, right? I'm gonna get my hair wet. Come on. Troy.
That's awful.
Water, a recurring geographical feature which allows a civilized society to develop. For example, rivers.
Okay, so I'm just hoping that maybe this teacher that was talking about water will see the water on Max here and at least ask some questions. He walked into that auditorium in part 1 of this reaction, and the principal should have immediately shut it down, brought him to the office, found out who was responsible, maybe even called the police, got them involved. But no, he just says, oh, prankster. I mean, what in the world? Surely, hopefully, this teacher is going to do something about this.
You're tardy and you're dripping. I have rules against both. Now, class,
Okay.
another feature which allows a civilized society to develop is a code of rules. Without rules, society would completely collapse.
Okay, and I don't disagree, but how about who did this to you? How about how did you get all wet? She didn't even ask. She just said you're dripping and I have a rule against it. Like, how about ask some questions or at least take him out in the hallway to talk to him? This is really bad.
I guess you'll write me a 2,000-word essay on the subject.
What?
That's not fair! Which I will look forward to seeing on my desk drip dry Friday.
This Friday?
This Friday?
Wait. Friday was the day I was moving. This teacher was mean. She let Tom steal my money. She wanted to punish me when it wasn't my fault. But if I wasn't gonna be here, what could she really do to me, right?
Uh-oh.
It was time to take a stand.
All right, so much to say, and I'll try to be quick about it. So this teacher assigned him some sort of essay as punishment. You don't typically do that. Now, back in this time, you might see that, but nowadays, like, think about it. You want students to improve in their literacy skills, so you don't want them to think of writing as a punishment or like a negative thing, like it's bad to write. Right? So you want to encourage that in positive ways, and you don't do that by assigning writing like this as some sort of punishment. A lot of schools simply don't do this anymore for this reason. And if you're going to give some sort of consequence to Max, which he doesn't deserve anyway, you would not do it in front of the whole class here. All of this stuff. Is it a potential firing? Maybe not, but it's a conversation and possibly other disciplinary action for this teacher. And I didn't recognize her at first as being the teacher that allowed this other student to take his lunch money, but what is more concerning is Max saying, oh, well, I'm going to be gone on Friday. I'm moving. So that's the whole thing. Max Keeble's big move. And he's thinking, well, I can't be punished. If I do something crazy now, I can't be punished because I won't be here. So even if that's the case, typically if you get suspended or something like that from a school and then you transfer to a new school, the very first thing that school is going to do is get all of your records from your previous school. Now, that is going to include any trouble that you got into or consequences that you were given, and every school I've ever been at is going to accept those consequences that the previous school gave and pass them right along to you. So the notion that you can do anything you want if you're changing schools, or like on the last day of school you can do whatever you want and they can't do anything, it's not quite true.
How come I can't do the essay right now?
Oh no.
Now, class.
No.
Oh, good. A civilized society
No, Max.
does need a set of rules. Otherwise, people could do this. Oops.
Did I say 2,000 words? Make that 4,000.
No. And at that point, you just go get someone, or you take him out of the room, or you call the principal. If he cut the phone line, you don't just say, oh, not 2,000 words, but 4,000. No, you go get someone immediately. And now he's jumping onto the desk. Yeah, you get someone down there immediately.
Or this.
Okay.
Make that 8,000 words and take your seat now.
8,000 words? That's kid stuff. How about 12,000 words? Do I hear 12,000 words, ladies and gentlemen?
What?
Sold! 12,000 words.
Get off my desk.
Kide?
Oh, okay, wow. That's impressive.
You're in serious trouble, Mr. Keeble.
Can't call. And the fact is that as bad as what happened to Max was, he's looking at getting himself either suspended for a long period of time at his new school, even though he hasn't even started yet, or more likely some sort of other placement, either an alternative school program or some other program for troubled students that they may have based on all of this behavior. I mean, kicking the globe across the room, running across the desks, that's going to end up costing him when he goes to his new school, unfortunately. What?
Hello, sweetheart. No consequences. I could do anything I wanted.
Excuse me?
What?
Where do you think you're going?
Forever in the Windy City. Look me up.
What?
And now, all the people who had tried to run us down, mess us up, push us around, are in for a little surprise.
So I'm a little nervous about where this is going. I mentioned recently on an episode of Ned's Revenge, if you remember that one, how sometimes you do have students that take matters into their own hands and do things that are worse than what was done to them. Now in this case, I mean, it's sort of crazy and super unrealistic that the school didn't notice this, didn't respond to it, with him being covered in filth and wandering into that auditorium. That was super crazy, and that would have been handled instantly. He wouldn't have even been allowed to set foot in there. They would have got him and say, okay, what happened? Who did this to you? And immediately nailed that other guy. But in this case, he's going to try to take revenge, I think, which I have seen situations in real life where someone who was a victim of bullying turns around and instead of working with the school, they do something that's far worse, and then they themselves become a bully. I have seen that before.
I'm closing down
Oh,
the
okay.
shelter.
He's planning his revenge.
I had to do something about the bullies. All I needed was a little bit of help.
Help. Oh,
Because I'm out of here in 2 days.
what are they gonna do?
Marching car. You know what fella's good for the moolah. Looks like somebody froze your assets, man.
Froze your assets.
Do about that. Hey! Why don't you go get a real job, fool?
Oh, he's gonna take his briefcase.
Man, I thought I told you. Their lunch money is mine, vendor.
Ooh. Okay.
Trading hours are over.
Stole his phone, or whatever that is. Which I almost forgot, this is 2001, so I think that was like a Palm Pilot. I do remember those. I'm guessing that's what that was.
Hello, Vladimir.
Vladimir.
Meadowgrass is my name. I like a swampy bone.
Oh, it's the frog. It's the frog that he's scared of.
Meadowgrass is my name. I like a swampy bone. Meadowgrass I like a swampy bone. With your favorite Highland. Meadowgrass is my name. I like a swampy bone. Table with your favorite Highland bone.
Yeah, that is going to a lot of trouble, I have to say, playing it through the wall, which, you know, maybe, I don't know what kind of device he had to sort of amplify it, but yeah, you could probably hear that through the wall.
And let me just remind the citizens of Curtis Junior High.
Citizens.
We are now T-minus several hours until the Superintendent Nebworth visit.
No. That's so bad.
Thank you.
And it's not like he's the president. Like, I don't know why you would do that. I've never seen anything close to that. That's so ridiculous. And if the superintendent's coming, fine. I mean, that's a normal thing that happens all the time. You don't want to make announcements like this. It's really not necessary. The only thing I've seen in real life close to this is maybe if you have a visit from the State Department of Education or from another group that's doing some observations, but you just make people aware and you tell them, okay, they're going to be looking at this and that, and more often than not, it's not an inspection. He called it an inspection, but it's just observations to see how the school is doing on certain things so that they can then help them improve. Ugh.
I'm a walrus, hey.
What?
The
So bad.
camera's still on.
So bad. Oh.
It's just that we have to be very careful with the lab equipment.
Yeah?
Our budget is very tight, thanks to the new football program.
Okay, a couple of things. So, number one, this guy could be suspended, possibly, or face other consequences for just outright breaking this container just to distract her from Max stealing this stuff. Max could also receive a suspension for that. That's a potential suspension for him for just stealing items from the case there, which is typically locked. For that very reason. Not that you're going to have things that are super dangerous in a junior high science class. You might have things that kids just shouldn't have, or things that are irritating if they come into contact with the skin or the eye. Things that really just shouldn't fall into the wrong hands. And then I also noticed that she said something about our budget is tight because of the new football program. I've never heard of that before. Typically, funds for athletic programs are separate, and typically they have to do a lot of fundraising themselves. It's not as as if the Department of Education gives funds for things like that. Those are the responsibility of the various sports to fundraise. That's why you have booster clubs. If you remember my reaction to King of the Hill about that, they had this big booster club, and well, that is what they do. They raise funds for the football program so that there is no conflict. You would have a certain amount of funds that would go towards academics or the science department or whatever, and it wouldn't matter if you had a new football program or not. It wouldn't affect that.
Let's check my groceries today.
No phone or Palm Pilot or whatever. Oh boy.
Where's my handheld?
And so far, thankfully, no one's been hurt or anything like that, but I don't condone, this little revenge. Now, granted, the school should be doing something about this, and if these events really happened, Max's parents really should go to the school board, and this principal would absolutely be fired for failing to follow up on the first incident, calling him out in front of the whole school, having him just sit down covered in filth. He would absolutely be fired, and then none of this revenge is necessary, but I understand there's no movie if this doesn't happen. Okay, so he's breaking into the school here. It's just getting worse and worse. And one thing I did think was funny, this seems like a little bit of a more realistic ductwork for the school. If you remember Ned's Declassified, that duct they always seem to find themselves in is just enormous and very, very clean as well. And you see what this one looks like here. What? Which, by the way, there are schools that have security or even a police department. Larger school districts will have some sort of police department that may patrol at night. I have worked with a school district that does that, but more often than not, no. They just rely on the local police for that. Or this guy looked like a custodian. You do have custodians that work into the evening. Now, not overnight, typically. The latest that I've heard is maybe 8 or 9 p.m. unless there's some sort of event, which clearly there's not. They're just breaking into the school. Most schools do have a security system which would go off and then call the police.
The window is open.
Oh, is that the principal's office? What?
The computer. I'll get the red spray.
So what are they doing here?
Check it out.
Okay. This is so funny. John J. Curtis Junior High School budget. 97% the stadium. And 1% salary, 1% textbooks, 1% breath spray. Yeah, so number one, you wouldn't have a graph like this for your school budget. You would receive a school budget from your local school district, but almost all of it would go towards instruction. In other words, this teacher's salary percentage would be far, far higher. In fact, it would be the majority of it. The fact is that in most school districts, most of the budget actually does go to pay personnel. That includes teachers, nutrition workers, custodians, really everyone that works for the school district. So the teacher salaries is going to maybe be 90%, and then the other items are going to vary. The stadium is not going to be part of the school district's normal budget. You're going to have different fundraising efforts for that. A lot of schools will do something called eSplost. I'm not sure if other states have that, but here in Georgia you have a SPLOST, meaning I think it's a special purpose local option sales tax. In other words, the community consents to maybe a 1% additional sales tax for a specific period of time for a big project like this. Now, in a community like this, they might want there to be a new stadium, but it's not going to be like all of the school budget spent on it and not paying the teachers. I think that would become known. That would be ended pretty quickly if someone tried to do this. And in fact, this is probably a potential firing for this principal. You can't do this.
Freak's using all the school's money to build his stupid football stadium.
No.
Can't let him get away with that.
What? Uh-oh.
Come on, let's get out of here. Roll! Come on, man. Let's go.
And they just leave their bikes out. It's not obvious at all. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the video right here. It's going on a little long now. As mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to have to break this up into pieces, so can't wait to continue on looking at this movie in part 3. I hope to see you there. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and I'll see you on the next video or on the next segment of my reaction to Max Keeble's big move here on School Principal Reacts. Thanks for watching to the end, and as always, thanks for watching.